Welcome back to the conversation once again, ladies and gentlemen. A strong warning has just been spoken by the leader of the United States of America. The West actually carry weight, pressure, and of course a risk. What was said, ladies and gentlemen, may change comes talks into hard action. This moment is drawing serious attention across the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let us quickly talk about this. First of all, let's talk about what happened when and of course where exactly this actually was going to take place, ladies and gentlemen. Recent public remarks by the President of the United States of America have actually brought fresh attention to the situation in the Middle East. The statement was actually shared through official public platforms and quickly spread across global media spaces. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? The focus of the message was the Gaza area and armed groups operating there. President Donald Trump said in a quote, "We have peace in the Middle East." Quotation close. This statement was actually presented as a starting point to explain the current situation as seen by the United States government. The West suggested that, ladies and gentlemen, some level of calm already exists in the area or the region, even if not fully stable. President Donald Trump then added again or said again in a quote, "Hamas, we have a flame here and there." Quotation close. Ladies and gentlemen, this line showed that whilst peace is claimed, small areas of tension are still active. The words were brief and simple, pointing to ongoing concerns without detailed explanation. The statement became stronger when President Donald Trump added, again, and I quote, "But if they don't get rid of the guns, they will be very unhappy people. They will be eliminated." Quotation close. Ladies and gentlemen, this message was actually direct and firm. It showed a clear demand from the United States leadership regarding weapons and control in Gaza. These remarks were not shared during a private meeting, ladies and gentlemen. They were made openly, allowing people around the world to hear and interpret them, ladies and gentlemen. The location discussed was not Gaza, a place that has actually faced long periods of tension. At this stage, ladies and gentlemen, no action was actually announced. Only words were actually spoken. Yet, words from a certain president can actually carry heavy meaning. Calm listening and, of course, careful understanding are more important at moments like this. Now, let us quickly talk about who is actually involved and why it matters. Before we continue, ladies and gentlemen, please, as usual, kindly like this video, subscribe to the channel or the community, and of course turn on notifications. This helps bring more and calm news to more important people like you. Thank you so much for your understanding. The main voice in this situation, ladies and gentlemen, is the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. His role carries global influence when he speaks. Government, groups, and of course people listen closely and carefully. The message actually focused on Hamas, a group based in Gaza. President Donald Trump stated again in a quote, "They made a deal," quotation close. This short sentence suggested that an agreement already existed. The details of the deal were not explained in the statement, ladies and gentlemen. However, the West implied that expectations were set and not fully met. President Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, also said again, and I quote, "The board of peace, that is what it is, and it is started on Gaza," quotation close. This phrase was actually unclear to many listeners, ladies and gentlemen, but it suggested that peace effort or plans are centered around Gaza. Yes, so the situation matters because Gaza is a sensitive place or area. Any strong words linked to it can actually affect many lives. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, now the United States is a major global power, and its position can shape talks, actions, and of course reactions. Clear communication is important during such times or moments. When messages are strong, calm, understanding helps reduce confusion. This moment reminds viewers that leadership words can actually open doors or close them completely. Let's talk about the context, balance, and the responses or reactions. The Middle East has seen many years of tension, talks, and pauses. Gaza has often been at the center of these moments. Different groups, countries, and of course leaders have shared views over time. The United States of America has long been involved in peace talks in the region, ladies and gentlemen. President Donald Trump added again in a quote, ladies and gentlemen, "You have Hezbollah, and Lebanon. We have to do something there too. Quotation close. This expanded the focus beyond Gaza. It showed that concerns are not limited to one area. This statement brought attention to Lebanon as well. It showed that the United States of America sees the situation as wider than a single location. Still, no clear steps were actually announced. Ladies and gentlemen, reactions across media spaces were mixed. Some people focus on the strong tone. Others focus on the call for peace through disarmament. No official, response or reaction from the groups mentioned was actually included in the statement. Ladies and gentlemen, the key lesson here is the value of calm listening. Strong words can actually raise fear, and understanding context helps people stay informed without panic. Balance actually matters when discussing global issues like this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, going forward, these statements show how serious the United States of America leadership views the situation. They also show how words alone can actually shift or change attention, mood, and of course expectations. No timeline or next step was actually shared. President Donald Trump did not actually announce immediate action. He shared a position and expectation. This leaves space for talks, reactions, or silence. This situation reminds viewers of an important value. Peace efforts need patience, clear rules, and of course, calm voices. Strong leadership could also carry responsibility and care. Ladies and gentlemen, as events continue to unfold more, watching calmly and of course seeking facts helps everyone stay grounded. Global issues affect many people, and clear thinking matters. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more calm and respectful global news like this.